From wherever you're watching us in Kenya and around the world, good evening. This is The New Look, KBC Prime Edition.
Live from the broadcasting house here in the capital city, Nairobi.
Tonight we have a comprehensive coverage for you, including the day's business.
In business today, I have interesting numbers for you and statistics. How do the different genders use the phone? And I am Cynthia Nyamai. It's good to be back. It's a great honor to serve this nation. That story is coming up shortly, and more international stories for you.
And in the world of sports...
Well, Team Kenya, that is set to represent the country in the upcoming Olympic Games in Tokyo, Japan, of course, started camp this evening. I'm Richard Munga. I'll be giving you all the details and, of course, more sports updates later on.
Plus, live in studio, ANC leader Musalia Mudavadi. His eyes on the trophy again. What drives him? Please catch up with that interview on Perspective a little later on. But first things first, top in this live broadcast. Their services still needed. Government extends Interfaith Council mandate to the end of the year to help in the war against the COVID-19 pandemic.
We are going to ensure as a government that all the children who learned this Elimu scholarship shall go to boarding schools where everything is catered for.
Seeking to leave no one behind, government offers a scholarship to 9,000 needy students in its 100% transition to secondary school policy.
It's a new Monday. Kenya Broadcasting Corporation unveiling its new look in a momentous ceremony.
And will 2022 be his glorious moment?
Tonight, we host Musalia Mudavadi of the Amani National Congress. Thank you all for making time to be with us tonight.
Of course, a very warm welcome to this live broadcast. Feel free to interact with us at KBC Channel 1 News. The hashtag to use, this is KBC. My name is Purity Museo.
And I am delighted to be back. My name is Mboya.
Welcome back.
Thank you very much. And thank you for making time to be with us. We begin our coverage tonight with our top story. The government has extended the time limit for the Interfaith Council for the national response to COVID-19 up to the 31st of 2021.
And Cabinet Secretary for the Ministry of Interior and Coordination of National Government, Dr. Fred Matiang'i, says the religious leaders have been key players in the fight against COVID-19 disease, hence the need to extend their mandate after expiry of the initial term, which was to be the end of the month.
That's right, and the move comes as government kicked off a 7-day nationwide sensitization campaign on the COVID-19 pandemic. Ruth Mboya opens our coverage tonight with that report.
Lord, that you may give them the wisdom.
The Interfaith Council for the National Response to COVID-19 Limit, chaired by Archbishop Anthony Muheria, will continue executing its mandate until December 31st this year, and is urging religious leaders in the red zone counties to be patient as they work on modalities of reopening places of worship.
So that we can continue this collaboration as we work together. And we believe that we are going to, in a much more institutionalized manner, both ourselves at the Ministry of Interior and our colleagues at the Ministry of Health, we have developed a much more institutionalized way of now working more directly with the IFC as we go forward.
We ask our religious leaders patiently to continue following these measures that have been given as we look into what we are able to accommodate. And as we all know, there is always the line of the live streaming.
Chief Administrative Secretary in the Ministry of Health, Dr. Mercy Mwangangi, says the situation in the 13 counties remain critical and they are currently focused on managing spread of the new variants.
And one key thing of concern for us is the Delta virus. And so what we are doing in the 13 counties is that we've mounted a key surveillance response that is focusing on genomic sequencing. We have our labs there, particularly the Kemri lab, that is picking samples so that we can establish the number of Delta virus cases that may be there.
And as the country continues to battle with the third wave of the COVID-19 pandemic, the government has moved to scale up sensitization against the deadly virus in all the 47 counties. The campaign will be spearheaded by the State Department for Broadcasting and Telecommunication and will run for 7 days between 21st and 27th of this month.
The campaign starts today, June 21st, 2021, across the counties, running from 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m.
In Mombasa, the County Commissioner Gilbert Kitio has warned that the number of positive cases in the county are expected to increase during the month of July.
Wewe utaifanya tu, unafikiria uko na nguvu za kifedha, nguvu za kisiasa, lakini kikupata hizo zote utasahau. Kwa hivyo naomba kwamba tafadhali tushirikiane ili tuweze kupigana na vita na hii corona na tuweze kufaulu.
The same sentiments were expressed in Kisii County, where the County Commissioner Alan Machari decried the current coronavirus positivity rate in the county.
That we want to minimize the people, very many people congregating at the same time. So we are encouraging our people to operate without the market days, such that you can go to the market any day.
In Kirinyaga County, the awareness campaign caravan was flagged off by Deputy County Commissioner Daniel Ndege, who downplayed the misinformation surrounding the coronavirus vaccine.
Vaccination is harmless and it is only aimed to protect. It reduces the severity of the disease. If you are vaccinated, you are able to resist the disease, 80% immunity.
Kenyans have been urged to continue observing the COVID-19 protocols as a nationwide campaign on the pandemic kicks off. Reporting for Prime Edition, I'm Ruth Wamboi.
Let's stay with that COVID update. The country has recorded 218 new COVID-19 infections from a sample size of 2,577 tested in the last 24 hours. The positivity rate is now at 8.5%. That number brings to 293 total caseload so far in the country.
And in that same time, 5 people succumbed to the disease, one of them in the last 24 hours, while 4 are late deaths. This now pushes the cumulative death toll to 3,461. A total of 1,074 patients are currently admitted in various health facilities countrywide.
Let's now move on to education. 9,000 bright but needy children are set to benefit from the 2020 Elimu Scholarship Program offered by the government. Among those are 3,000 from the urban slum areas across the country.
Education Cabinet Secretary Professor George Magoha was traversing the slums in Bangladesh and Changamwe in Mombasa County, where 62 students are set to benefit from the program.
With the Form 1 selection complete and students expected to report to the schools in August, the government's 100% transition policy will come in handy for bright but needy students. Through the Elimu Scholarship, that 9,000 needy students across the country will have their secondary school fees paid for by the government. Speaking in Bangladesh and Changamwe slums in Mombasa County, Education Cabinet Secretary Professor George Magoha stated that those selected for the scholarships are well-deserving cases.
I have been thoroughly satisfied by the manner in which Equity Bank and the government have gone about identifying the children. It has taken me quite, you can see I'm sweating because I've been going right deep into the residential areas of the children. The 3 children that have visited this morning are thoroughly deserving.
Magoha recommended that those from the urban slums be enrolled in boarding schools.
The government already pays everything for the day secondary schools, which are 75% of the schools. at the rate of a capitation of 22,240 shillings per child. And basically what the child requires is to be either uniform or lunch money. So there's no need to have a good scholarship and you go to a day school. Therefore, we are going to ensure as a government that all the children who land this Elimu scholarship shall go to boarding schools where everything is catered for, including school uniform and transport.
Another 9,000 children will benefit in the next school calendar, with those not lucky advised to seek bursaries from the constituency kitty.
Those who don't get should not lose hope. We have the national CDF. For this area, the chairman is here. I'm just pleading with them to follow the same dynamics. We shall also get another few scholarships from the banks, like the KCB Foundation, Safaricom Foundation, Absa Bank, and I've also approached the cooperative bank, so that the children that just miss but deserve, we still need to have their list. Are we together here? Yeah, and we have no teeth to laugh. Those who can afford to pay fees will pay fees. We want to help those who cannot.
For Prime Edition from Mombasa County, I am Mboya.
Now, millions of Kenya Broadcasting Corporation viewers have taken to the social media to laud the new KBC Channel 1 news and programming revamp.
Both the Twitter and Facebook were abuzz with us. Viewers welcomed the revamped newscast lineup of legends, among them Catherine Kasavuli, Tom Mboya, Badi Hussein and Pauline Shego.
Well, that's right. KBC is tonight also rebranding its Radio Taifa as well as the English Service Radio brands.
Furahia sura mpya ya darubini ya Channel 1.
The Kenya Broadcasting Corporation Monday was the top trending item on Twitter ahead of the news and programming relaunch under hashtag This is KBC. Media legend Catherine Kasavuli caused national sensation with her return on television, capturing the attention of millions. Monday afternoon, Kasavuli was trending at #1 on Twitter trends in Kenya. Musician Susan Owio says she is back on the screen. How beautiful. Now I have a reason to watch KBC News. Silas Dekakimba says our living rooms missed Catherine, Tom Mboya and all. For this alone, I will tune back to This is KBC after a long time. Donald Kipkorir says, as a patriotic Kenyan, I'm fully rooting for the revamped KBC. In the US and UK, news anchors work till past the age of 80. Politician Millicent Omanga also took to her platform to express her joy to the KBC relaunch. Government spokesperson office on its Twitter handle welcomed the gesture, saying some credible and well-seasoned journalists will be joining the KBC team. KBC Business News Editor Stanley Wabomba and Digital News Editor Hunja Masharia on their Twitter pages said media and other professionals have had their talents and skills nurtured in KBC. KBC is also rebranding its Radio Taifa and English service radio stations. Legendary radio presenters including John Karani are back on the airwaves. J. Hu ni Ungwana, done by Leonard Mambo Mutela, remains a favorite among Kenyans on social media. The radio stations have also brought forth competent news readers to draw you closer. And as the saying goes, old is gold. And this is KBC. Irene Mchuma Odim, Channel 1.
Great things to come ahead. Now, tonight on our opinion poll quiz, we are asking you what would make you vote. Would you vote for Musalia Mudavadi? Would you vote for Musalia Mudavadi as the Kenya's 5th president? That's our opinion poll quiz question tonight.
Absolutely, and you can send in your comments at KBC Channel 1 News, and the hashtag to use tonight is This is KBC.
That's right. The man himself on the other side of the studio, Musalia Mudavadi, ANC leader, live in studio. When we return, stay with us.
What does this number mean to you? A pack leader? A winner? Or just a number? To us, it means freshness, boldness, vibrancy, and heritage. That's why at KBC Channel 1, we make it easier for you to pop up your family entertainment to a fresh, exciting, and colorful bouquet.
Did you know education policy stands the test of time, irrespective of uncertainties in life like COVID-19? For peace of mind, go ahead and buy education insurance for your child's education in order to guarantee their future even in difficult times. Purchase an education policy early in your child's life to avoid the pressure that parents face when children join kindergarten, high school, college, or university. Now you know. IRA, promoting insurance, protecting the insured.
Bwana Motiso, pikipiki yako ndio hii. Uko shoni yangu. Hii pikipiki ni unakumbuka uniekelea the lowest unique bid yako ilikuwa ngapi? 18 shillings. Na unajua kuendesha hii gari? Kidogo. Haya, kitoko yako shika helmet, kifungu yako, chomoka na mali yako.
Kujiunga na QuickBid ni rahisi. Enda kwenye M-Pesa, bonyeza paybill kisha weka business number 4032353. Kwenye account weka kodi ya bidhaa unayotaka na bid yako ya chini zaidi. Kwa mfano TV 16. Kisha weka shilingi 20 tu kama idadi yako. Weka bid yako pia kwenye www.quickbid.co.ke. Kumbuka, bid ya chini zaidi ya kipekee ndio hununua. QuickBid, bidhaa bora kwa bei ya chini.
Actually always compare the two, HIV with vitiligo. These people go through a lot. Their self-esteem is very low. So we just wanted to raise their self-esteem and create awareness, like they can be part of the community.
Ni bahati tena yo. Thank you so much, every team Bahati, every fan that is watching me on Grapevine, This is Bahati tena, Iceland's most beloved, the ghetto president, and you're watching Grapevine on KBC channel.
He served as the country's last vice president in the Moi era, as deputy prime minister during President Kibaki's first term, but out of government throughout President Uhuru Kenyatta's reign. Now, ahead of 2022 general election, his eyes are on the jackpot. What is his driving force? His guiding principle? His philosophy? Wycliffe Musalia Mudavadi on The Perspective this Monday, only on KBC Prime Edition.
The world has lost half of its wild animals in the past 40 years, according to the World Wildlife Fund. At this rate, the remaining species may become extinct if nothing is done, and in good time.
The mountain bongo is critically endangered, and it's only found in Kenya, with less than 100 individuals existing in their natural habitat.
When we take care of the forest, we are taking care of their habitat, and we are also sustaining the community livelihoods that are achieved through the forest.
Join me, Purity Museo, this Monday and Tuesday at 9 p.m. as we explore how species unique to Kenya are fast disappearing and what efforts are in place to save the situation.
Welcome back. Well, as we had promised, on Perspective, we are fortunate to have our first guest, Honorable Musalia Mudavadi. Thank you very much, Mheshimiwa, for honoring our invitation, really.
Yeah, thank you, Tom. I think for me, it's also a big honor because here you are coming back in a big way.
Yeah.
And I become your first guest.
Thank you.
Who would ask for more?
Exactly. And we're really delighted that, that you came through. Now, let's just get straight into it. You have been in politics for close to, I think, 4 decades, and you have served in 3 administrations. You've had some wins, you've had some losses, but you keep going. You keep going on and on and on. And my first question is, what drives you?
First of all, let me just correct you. Yes, I've been in for about 30 years plus.
Yeah.
But I've only served 2 regimes. Not
2 regimes, thanks for that correction. Exactly, 2 regimes.
That is the Mboya regime and the Grand Coalition.
Yeah, but over a period of 30 years.
Roughly 30
Very
years.
long time.
What drives me?
Yeah.
The passion for the country. The desire to be able to be part of a positive influence in our country. I would like to see a robust economy. I would like to see a very responsive educational system, good health services, a country that has the rule of law and respects the rule of law. I would like to see an economy that is working for all people, for
and
all
thriving.
Kenyans, and thriving. So this keeps on driving me to be part of wanting to serve the people of Kenya.
So against that background, what would you frame as your guiding principles?
Honesty, integrity, dedication, the need to strengthen families, because that is a very important unit, and ultimately to have an economy that allows the young man and woman to put food on the table.
Put on the table.
For their families.
For their families. And in addition to that, Gandhiji, Mahatma Gandhi's philosophy was simple living, high thinking. What is yours?
Well, I think I've read a bit of Gandhi, and I think he came out very well. He's a man whose philosophies you would appreciate. Simplicity, but depth in thinking and depth in reach to the people. And by the way, this is also the Quaker value. I'm a Quaker, and Quakers basically believe in simplicity as much as they have to serve the country.
Okay. Now, I remember during the launch of your autobiography, was it Soaring Above the Storms?
Yeah, the Storms of Passion, yeah.
Your mom described you as a very polite young man in your younger days. And she told reporters about a story about how one day you came back home and found that your siblings had been shipped off to a faraway place, some place called Njoro.
Yes.
To a boarding facility.
Correct.
And it bothered you. And these were your mom's words. You almost threw tantrums, and that was unlike you. I just want you to tell us more about that.
Well, I was a young boy. I was a young kid.
Yeah.
And in a family, when you're born and you have your siblings with you, that is your world, so to speak. So when you find that there's a dislocation that I was not able to understand appropriately at that time because they were older and therefore they were going to boarding school, and I was going to be left at home, there's a vacuum in the context of who will you mingle with?
Yeah.
So to that extent,
yeah.
I can imagine at that age,
yeah.
I would have done what every other young child would have done,
yeah.
To express the displeasure and the concern. Yeah. So if I did throw a tantrum, yeah. then it was in that context.
Yeah.
Yes.
And she said that was really unlike you.
Yes, but you see, I was young. I was very young. I was an infant, basically. But nevertheless, the fact of the matter is that I have maintained my calmness over the years. I prefer to deal with issues logically rather than emotionally.
Okay.
Sometimes you can be emotional, all right.
Yeah.
But logic should be the prevailing factor at any one time.
And we're going to talk about that more a little later.
Yes.
I just want to stay with family first, because I know your father was a very powerful minister back in the days.
Mm-hmm.
And he grew from a teacher, you know, all the way to the Moy's cabinet.
Yes.
And he was seen as being responsible for delivering the Luya vote in those days.
Mm-hmm.
Are you a chip of that old block?
Well, I am. I am my father's son.
Tell me more about that.
That's the fact of the matter. And I can tell you that it is true that he was a powerful politician. During his time, that the way politics was handled was different.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, we were largely under one-party state in those days.
That's right.
But now we are in a multi-party system. Communication is much more robust in society. The demographics are very different than they were at that time.
Yeah.
So he played his role. And I can tell you I'm playing my role today very effectively in connecting with the people of Western Kenya and indeed Kenyans in other parts of our country.
Yeah, the reason I ask that question on character, and I want you to respond to this before we take a break, is because the character question arises from time to time.
Yeah.
And you're right. Some people actually describe you as, oh, he's a very gentle person, very, very measured.
Yeah.
And, you know, he does not scare away the extreme elements in rival camps. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. But others use very harsh adjectives to describe you. Broadly speaking, most people are agreed on your fiscal policies. But there are those who feel that to realize economic growth, it requires some radical muscle. And that's what I want you to speak to before we take a break.
My friend, I was Minister for Finance at the age of 33. The country was in the doldrums. There were very, very serious structural and governance issues that had taken us to the bottom of the hole. I came out and I stood out and I transformed this country. I liberalized this country and the economy of this country to the extent that I was rated as a Minister for Finance in Africa who had presided over the most elaborate and rapid liberalization of the economy. And along the way, I closed financial institutions that were not meeting the requirements. Along the way, I got a lot of changes brought into this country. That was a question of diplomacy and the way you think and the way you present your logic. Matters like this is not about the brawn, it's about the brain. And I want to tell people is that even if you have to bring discipline, okay, and in fact, if you go back, the first budget I presented as Minister for Finance talked about resilience and discipline. And that is what we have lost. We have lost our discipline in the management of public affairs. And it has put us into trouble. And this needs somebody to bring us back to the rail.
You talk about brawn.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever the question of the big C comes up, corruption,
mm-hmm.
you're dealing with people who are smart. So why is it that the poll is so high, in regards to
let me tell you why I talk about brawn and rather than brain rather than brawn.
Yeah.
Let's take the hub of corruption. At that time, it was something called import licensing, exchange controls. The moment we eliminated that and we were able to have a unified exchange rate, we swept away a very good and large chunk of corruption activities, rent-seeking stages. So we need systems that will work. Now, to fight corruption, we cannot fight it if you're in constant conflict with the judiciary. You cannot fight corruption if you underfund the judiciary, you underfund the ethics and corruption body, you underfund the DPP, you underfund the DCI. And I can tell you the figures. When you give the courts 18 billion shillings, you give the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution roughly 3 billion. You give EACC roughly 3 billion. You give DCI roughly 5 billion. All right? And then you give Parliament 40 billion.
Straight imbalance.
Straight imbalance. Yet these are the institutions that are supposed to sort out these things.
The big C. So why don't we take a short break? Because I just want to remind our viewers, we were asking a question. We were asking them whether they would, make you vote or not vote. What exactly would make them vote or not vote for Musalia Mudavadi as the 5th president? Just send your comments on our social media platforms that are displayed on your screen. And when we come back, the second part of this interview with Honorable Musalia Mudavadi. Stay with us.
What does this number mean to you? A pack leader? A winner? Or just a number? To us, it means freshness, boldness, vibrancy and heritage. That's why at KBC Channel 1, we make it easier for you to pop up your family entertainment to a fresh, exciting and colourful bouquet.
If you have been in contact with someone who is suspected or has tested positive for COVID-19, self-quarantine for 14 days and call 7194 for help. Self-quarantine restricts movement and the spread of the disease and protects your family, friends and community from being infected. During self-quarantine, you are advised to stay in a separate room, disinfect surfaces and clothing with appropriate disinfectant, avoid sharing household items including utensils, towels and beddings, do not receive visitors, wear an appropriate face mask if you must be around other people. COVID-19 is preventable. Protect yourself, family and the community. This message has been brought to you by the Government of Kenya and its partners.
Malaria ni ugonjwa hatari sana unaoua watu wengi hapa Kenya. Japo kuko na corona, hatari ya malaria bado iko. Mtoto huyu alikuwa na joto jingi, kutetemeka, kuumwa na viungo na uchovu. Alikimbizwa hospitali ya umma ambako sheria za COVID-19 huzingatiwa na ni salama kwa shughuli ya upimaji. Vipimo vilionyesha kuwa ana malaria na papo hapo daktari akampa dawa za malaria na kumshauri azimalize, na ili kujikinga wawe wakilala ndani ya neti iliyotibiwa. Malaria husambazwa na mbu. Walio hatarini ni watoto wa chini ya miaka 5 na akina mama wajawazito. Kupimwa na kutibiwa ni bure katika hospitali zote za umma. Usisahau adui malaria. Zero malaria huanza na mimi. Chukua jukumu leo. Komesha malaria. Ujumbe huu umeletwa kwenu na Wizara ya Afya.
Life is uncertain. Even if your regular income has been affected, you can still talk to your insurance service provider and convert your policy to a paid-up policy. You will not be required to pay further premiums, and your insurer will still be liable for the benefits payable under this option. Now you know. IRA, promoting insurance, protecting the insured.
Kupata skiza tune ya usifadhaishwe, dial star 811, star 815 hash.
Usifadhaishwe na mafanikio ya wengine ukihisi kwamba maisha yako hayana maana. Kumbuka, wengi huzungumzia tu mafanikio yao na si changamoto walizozipitia na ni mara ngapi walianguka. Tia bidii, muda wako utafika.
Ili kupata skiza tune hiyo ya usifadhaishwe kwa simu yako, dial star 811, star 815 hash, star 811, star 815.
Wednesday, see Charlie. Thursday, Nangoja, Friday, oh la 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 la.
People actually always compare the two, HIV with vitiligo. These people go through a lot. Their self-esteem is very low. So we just wanted to raise their self-esteem and create awareness. Like they can be part of the community.
Ni bahati tena yo. Thank you so much, every team Bahati, every fan that is watching me on Grapevine, This is Bahati Tena, Iceland's most beloved, the ghetto president, and you're watching Grapevine on KBC.
Huku kuna starehe zako, lakini ujue huku nyumbani majukumu yanakungoja.
Mimi naja Lea.
Heri Kuba anajistiri kwake kuliko kuku anachangatanga kwa watu mwisho akageuzwa mboga.
Ikiwa wewe hukushughulika hata na hawa watoto wa dadako, leo mimi nitakuhusisha vipi na masala yake?
Maya, mamdogo hawezi kukaa hapa.
Hawezi ama utaki akaya.
Na ukifukuzwa kule nyumbani, usije kunibishia hodi huko kwangu.
Ubishiwe.
What does this number mean to you? A pack leader? A winner? Or just a number? To us, it means freshness, boldness, vibrancy, and heritage. That's why at KBC Channel 1, we make it easier for you to pop up your family entertainment to a fresh, exciting, and colorful bouquet.
Sasa, hii ng'ombe ni yako.
Asante. Hii ng'ombe itatoa maziwa mengi kabisa. Sasa shida ya school fees imeisha. Jen, chukua hii. Hebu nikuulize, hii maneno nasikia ya bima ya elimu inaweza kuwa namna gani mtu anachukua?
Process ya kuchukua insurance cover yote ni rahisi. Hata niko na cover ya gari yangu. Kwanza unajaza proposal form kama hii na uijaze wewe mwenyewe. Na kama haujui kusoma, uijaze na mtu unayemwamini. Hakikisha ile majibu umepatiana ni sahihi na ni ya kweli. Pia thibitisha insurance cover imeangalia masilahi yako. Na usiwahi sign proposal form ambayo haijaandikwa kitu chochote. Pia ukumbuke kujitolea photocopy yako.
Sasa wacha nianze hiyo process.
By the way, ukisubmit hiyo proposal form, uhakikishe umepatiwa policy document. Uisome na uielewe. Hiyo ndio thibitisho ya kuwa una bima.
Asante sana.
Ujumbe huu umeletwa kwako na IRA.
Get the VIP access to the best shows on KBC Channel 1. We have something different, something special to spice you up. Get ready for new, exciting and captivating dramas.
Nikifa mutapumzika.
Movies.
I love the smell.
Comedy.
I went to the popos. Huh?
Drama.
Will you assault the queen in my house, in my presence?
News, sports, and so much more. Do the things that make you happy on KBC Channel 1.
Kupata skiza tune hii Waibrania 13:8 dial star 811 star 963 hash.
Yesu Kristo ni yule yule jana, leo na hata milele. Wahibrania 13:8.
Ili kupata skiza tune hiyo ya Waibrania 13:8 dial star 811 star 963 hash, star 811 star 963 hash.
Quiero amarte de una forma diferente, de otro modo.
Months ago, I prevented Amaya from dying, and then now, she saved my life.
Apparently, Chiapas is a place where your lives came together.
Don't you realize that if you do that, you're going to lose your son?
Listen, I don't care. I would rather do that than let him die.
If you're afraid and paranoid, then I'll take her away from you just like you did. You can just take it easy. Because I know that I'm not that desperate.
This is it. The wait is over. The rally drivers are here. 3 days to go to the biggest sporting event this year, the WRC Safari Rally. Catch all the drama and action of the Safari Rally live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1 from 24th to 27th June. This event will also be covered live on KBC Radio Taifa and streamed live on www.kbc.co.ke. Don't miss out. Rally in the wild with KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
Welcome back. We're with Honorable Musalia Mudavadi, ANC leader on Perspective. As you finish your point, before we took the break, I just want you to tie it in with what your rescue plan would be. Because some people are worrying that Kenya has become a debt treadmill and that we are in Euro bondage. So as you're finishing your point, you can also tackle that very quickly so that...
Yes, I think, Tom, let us be very clear. The country is broke. We do not have that extra money. We are broke. And this is why stringent measures are coming in to freeze even salary increments of public servants to the year 2025. All right? So what is happening is that the government is now borrowing to pay debt. And you remember I talked about fiscal discipline. We are financing our issues through a deficit mechanism. Fiscal discipline needs to be restored so that we have a better balance between what we raise through taxes and our public expenditure. Otherwise, we cannot continue going on like this. The Eurobond that is being taken in, the latest, if you look at it, it came out, but conveniently, the interest rate issue was not being flagged. But we are now borrowing again at close to 6.8%. All right? And the maturity period will be 2034.
Okay.
So we are in that situation. So
borrowing to pay loan, borrowing to pay loan.
Right.
Are we exposed?
Basically, the government is fulizering at the top, and that fuliza bag has even got into Mwananchi, who is also fulizering.
Sri Lanka, are we exposed?
We are exposed. We are exposed. We are exposed as a country because if we are not able to meet even the huge installments that are due in June, then we can be called into default. And when you're called into default, certain things happen. Maybe your embassies in certain countries may be attached and so forth. Or maybe assets like the Kenyan Airways planes could be impounded in other destinations. So it is a very serious issue. And debt also translates into higher tax. You know, Mwananchi is crying of heavy taxation.
Yeah, when I was coming here, I spoke to a gentleman called Karaoke. His matatu is almost being auctioned. Why?
Yes.
He cannot repay the loan. And he's telling me that he plans to join Colgate-Palmolive, Cadbury in Egypt because they shipped off earlier because of high costs of energy. And so what do you tell Karaoke?
High cost of energy, high taxation.
Yeah.
All right? Let me tell you, Karaoke needs to make a good decision come 2022.
Yeah.
We need to have a leadership that will focus on reviving the economy and make sure the economy works for all. Let me tell you, I met the chairman of the SMEs in Kenya, and I even met the chairman of the Boda Boda in this country.
And what did they tell you?
A gentleman called Kimani Wanduthi.
Yeah. What did he tell you?
Let me tell you.
Yeah.
He told me that it is just impossible to survive. The fuel costs have gone up. The tax on the motorbikes has gone up. It is not tenable. And we are going to start seeing high insecurity resurfacing.
Yeah.
High levels of insecurity resurfacing.
Yeah.
You walk into the streets now at 6 p.m.
Yeah.
Certain areas where you would stay freely and move freely up to 9 a.m. You're now disappearing very fast because the guys who are starved of opportunity elsewhere are now trying to survive by stealing.
And they're listening to you tonight because the eye of the nation is on KBC tonight.
Yes.
Their perspective. And they're listening to you, and you sound like you have joined them to complain about the state
I've not
of affairs.
complained. I'm telling them that this is an opportunity to get a leader who understands that this requires attention. And I want us to dialogue as a nation. Let me tell you, there's a phrase in the Kikuyu language. They call it Venga Tuarie.
Meaning?
Basically, this is a tradition which calls for sober, serious dialogue because we are at a crossroads. Kenyans need to engage in that serious dialogue. We need a Venga Tuarie moment in our country.
In our country.
So that the critical issues can be put on the table and we move away from a lot of the things we are seeing.
Yeah.
For instance, if you ask me, there was so much gusto on the BBI. Perfect. Good dividends within the BBI. But when you ask yourself, are we putting the same gusto in ensuring that there's employment? Are we putting the same gusto to fight corruption?
Yeah. So tell me what a Mudavadi presidency would do, because you've mentioned a youth empowerment issue. Look at the manufacturing sector. I mean, how can they achieve the potential of being a source of employment when imports from China, for example, continue unabated? How do we repair this?
These are the questions. Who are we creating jobs for? And it's a question of us dialoguing and focusing on the right issues. I've had an opportunity to talk to, I was doing a Zoom conference with about 350 members of the Chamber of Commerce, chaired by the president of the chamber, Ngatia. And we talked to so many people. This issue is alive. The issue of how the counterfeits were being tackled is alive. All these things need to be looked at soberly. And I can tell you, if we work together as a people, we can resolve this.
We can hack it. But you keep talking of dialogue, as if we don't know what the problems are. We know the problems. What we need is pragmatic.
You see why I talk of dialogue? Because you cannot win these things sometimes by using the club or the baton. People must understand what action is necessary and the consequences of their actions. We must, our constitution calls for participation in major policy decisions. Can we look at each other in the eye without blinking and say that we have been seeing sufficient public participation with the arms of government, say the Treasury and the Ministry of Commerce and so forth, in dealing with the issues that affect our people?
So if
my hunch is that I don't think there is sufficient dialogue. And therefore policies are being put in place that are harming the ordinary businessman. They're making it difficult for business to grow.
The local business. So sometimes do you get a sense that we focus more on the politics, the coalition buildings, the One Kenyas, the NASA rebirth, and so on, at the expense of governance and leadership?
Absolutely.
So what do you prescribe?
Absolutely. I think if we get the right leadership in place, we can minimize the time that we put on these other issues.
Okay.
Yeah, let us be realistic.
Okay.
We are putting too much time on politics of mudslinging and trying to outdo each other, as opposed to focusing on the issues that I'm talking about.
Okay, because you're running for presidency, let's talk a bit about the health area. Kenyatta National Hospital, at one time, a running hospital. But today, when you go there, dilapidated infrastructure. In fact, there's a sense in which people feel have lost trust. Are we funding the Indian health sector or the South African health sector?
Well, I will say something about Kenyatta Hospital. I visited it recently, and I can tell you that there is been some progress. Let us be honest here. If you go to the new wing and all that, you can come across some of the best quality high dependency units and ICU units. So there's some progress. We should not say that all is bad. But truly, you raise an issue that the connection between the hospital insurance fund and how it is reaching out to the ordinary person. There's a disconnect.
There's a disconnect.
Yes, and there's a lot of work to be done there.
Okay, as we come to the close of this interview, and I just wish we had a lot of time. 20 minutes is not a really long time.
I wish so too.
Yeah, but just some quick thoughts. Atwoli made some comments on no BBI, no election. Your thoughts? Very quickly as we come to the close.
My friend, we are not living in a constitutional vacuum. We have a constitution. I have said I want to be able to serve the people of Kenya and to ensure that constitutionalism shall be followed. So it is so clear that whatever we do must fall within the constitutional requirements. So anything outside that is not tenable.
Yes. Your thoughts on the question of the 6 judges? Because you want to be president. These are issues that in the event you...
It's a question of what the law provides. The Constitution, here's a situation where we are seeing procedurally they should be appointed. The appointing authority says that there is a problem, but there is a mechanism through the Judicial Service Commission where this thing can be resolved.
Thank you so much for coming through. You're my first guest. And time. This thing called time. Mheshimiwa. This thing called time. But I hope...
but one thing. Let me
very quickly so that we wrap up.
Let me just tell the people out there, especially the ordinary voter like myself.
Maybe in forwards.
Once the IBC starts this process of ensuring that people register, I want to plead to the Kenyans. If you want to make a difference, register and make that difference in 2022.
Thank you.
And I will be on the ballot.
Thank you.
And I want to be part of them when they are making this change.
Thank you very much. And we wish you well in your quest for the presidency. ANC leader Musalia Mudavadi. We will take a short break. When we come back, remember we were asking you, what would make you vote or not vote for Musalia Mudavadi as the 5th president? The social media platforms are on your screen. Speak to us. Let us know what your thoughts are. When we come back, we will be reading for you some of those comments. But coming up with the day's business, Cynthia Nyamai on the other side. Cynthia.
Thank you, Tom. Welcome to KBC Business. The Insurance Regulatory Authority is set to start licensing micro-insurance providers in efforts aimed at increasing uptake of insurance products by the masses. IRA Chief Executive Officer Godric Kiptum says this will go a long way in promoting financial inclusion given the low uptake of insurance.
According to FinAccess Household Survey 2019, only 2% of Kenyans used insurance as a solution to deal with shocks.
Of course, what we know is that many people have not thought in the past that they were insurable. But with these products that reach into many more people, it will be affordable.
This is attributed to, among others, diminished purchase power among the lower middle income households, who are more than 50% of the population.
Of course, the average income for this country is about $2,000 per annum, but that doesn't mean that everybody is on that scale. That's an average scale. Many people would be living below $2-3 per day, and we expect that those people now will have products that they can be able to afford that will take care of their risks, be it medical, be it health.
Low-income earners keep off insurance and opt for traditional, inadequate risk mitigation mechanisms such as social networks to meet spiraling medical, school and funeral costs through Harambes. To correct this, the Insurance Regulatory Authority plans to start licensing micro-insurance firms.
These products will reach many more people, increase penetration, and also, most importantly, get to the rich and meet the needs of the low-income persons. And just for information is that the authority is licensing microinsurance, which will be another class of insurance that will be targeting the low end of the population and giving them insurance cover that will range from both general classes of insurance and life insurance.
The IRA Chief Executive Officer says formal risk management solutions such as insurance is a solution. The Insurance Regulatory Authority has awarded 1.25 million shillings each to 3 startups under its Insurance Innovation Sandbox, dubbed Bima Lab Accelerator Program. The 3 startups, iCare, Chamasure and Sprout Insure, were recognized for developing solutions that would increase access in the undeserved markets by use of artificial intelligence, blockchain and telematics.
What we're doing is we are targeting groups in informal businesses and enabling them to pull together through our AI-powered app.
Chamasure has created a peer-to-peer micro-insurance and saving platform allowing Chamas to access insurance products. Regina Manyara reporting for KBC Prime Edition.
Now, in agriculture, coffee producers say the 3 billion shillings cherry revolving fund is not enough to adequately finance coffee activities and want the kitty increased to at least 5 billion shillings. The Kenya Coffee Producers Association says the directive to restrict farmers to only borrow from the cherry revolving fund is not sustainable, as it denies farmers their right to choose their preferred financiers.
The 8 coffee factories were on the verge of being auctioned because of a 163 million shillings debt. Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Peter Munya issued a directive stopping millers and marketing agents from advancing loans to farmers. Munya instead directed farmers to borrow from the 3 billion shillings coffee cherry fund. However, the Kenya Coffee Producers Association says the directive, which is now anchored in the Coffee Bill 2021, is not sustainable as it denies farmers their right to choose their preferred financiers, and the 3 billion shillings fund is not enough.
At the current national coffee production, averaging 40 metric tons, a minimum of 5.6 billion is needed if farmers are advanced at 20 shillings per kilogram of cherry.
The producers are calling for the suspension of the Capital Markets Regulation 2020, saying the Capital Markets Authority has no structure to support coffee trading.
With the experience that we had with them the last year, that is 2020, they seem not to have been prepared, not to even understand the coffee business, and comparing the coffee business with the shares that are normally traded.
The farmers want representatives at the Coffee Research Foundation, Coffee Board of Kenya and the Nairobi Coffee Exchange be elected by farmers. The farmers are calling for harmonization of the 2 coffee bills at the National Assembly and the Senate, and stakeholders consulted in drafting a comprehensive coffee bill that benefits farmers. Benson Rioba reporting for KBC Prime Time.
That is all from the business desk. I am Cynthia Nyamai. Let's catch up now with news from the sports desk.
Oh, good evening once again. My name is Richard Munga with today's sports. Now, reigning World Rally champion Sébastien Ogier of France has said his plan is to continue showing a splendid performance as the 6th round of the WRC Safari Rally kicks off this Thursday in Naivasha. Ogier made the sentiments after arriving in the country last night.
The sixth round of the WRC Safari Rally Championship will kick off this Thursday to Sunday in Naivasha with 58 rally drivers from all parts of the world competing for top honors. Reigning world champion Sebastian Ogier, who landed in the country last night, is eager, yearning for glory in the global showpiece.
I'm very excited to be there because the roads you have here are definitely very different from what you have in Europe, and also the nature I'm excited to see. So, yeah, I think this week is going to be very interesting for us. Yeah, I had a look a little bit, not of everything, because I believe that the most important going to be to have a good look during the recce, where for sure the note's going to make like always big difference in rally, but I think the speed maybe going to be a bit less than we are used to.
Meanwhile, Ott Tanak is determined to follow a different strategy for the remainder of the FIA World Rally Championship season.
Yeah, looking forward actually, and definitely a very special event in the championship. I've seen just some videos and footages, but actually not so much. So obviously, yeah, when I was a kid, I saw some footage from TV when WRC was last time.
The Hyundai Motorsport superstar will compete in the WRC Safari Rally Kenya, being his first ever race on African soil. The 2019 world champion nies 57 points adrift of championship leader Sebastian Ogier with 7 of the 12 rounds remaining. The Estonian lost a comfortable lead at Rally Italia when he hit a rock and ripped the right rear wheel from his Hyundai i20. Frederick Mwoki for Channel 1 Sport.
Meanwhile, Team Kenya to the Tokyo 2020 Olympics started checking into the final Olympics pre-departure Babu camp at Kasarani. Starting today, the 21st of June, until the 24th of this month. Rugby women's team, Lionesses, was the first team to check into the camp, while Taekwondo team is set to follow suit tomorrow. The final team to get into the camp will be rugby men, that is Shujaa, who will check in on Thursday. Women volleyball team Malkia Strikers and boxing team are already in camp at the Kenyatta University and Kasarani Stadium respectively. The teams will reside in their respective camps up until they start leaving for Kurume City, with the first team scheduled to leave on the 8th of next month. Well, now that's all the time we have for sports, but remember to visit our official YouTube page, that is KBC Sports, for the sports updates as well as a few features. Oh, that does it for me tonight. I'm Richard Munga. Do enjoy the rest of your viewing.
Thank you, Richard Munga, for that update. Well, before we let you go, our opinion poll question was, what would make you vote or not vote for Musalia Mudavadi as the 5th president? The verdict is out. We have Kamau in Narok saying, yes, I would vote for him. He's a safe pair of hands, but he needs to work on his decisiveness. Eunice from Kamulu says, yes, he can make a good president. He's sober. And we have Patrick saying no with one word, indecisive.
Mm-hmm. Interesting views there, but of course, Tom, you know, KBC is relaunching today, and we have a lot of comments. You know, Kenyans are so excited. Maybe I can just go through a few of them. We have Kibet, who's saying that, Kibet Bernard on Twitter, good to see KBC roaring back, waiting to see the legends back on our screens. And of course, the legend is still already here. And then the day is here. We cannot possibly wait and keep calm to see KBC bounce back. Thank you so much. And then I look forward to seeing Catherine Kastavuli back on our screens. I also saw your fan. Tom Mboya is firm, sure of himself, deep aware of his surroundings. Welcome back home.
Thank you.
Welcome back home.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. And that brings us to the end of Prime Edition this Monday night. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Purity Museo, and Wangeshi has been our sign language interpreter tonight. Good night and God bless.
And I trust the last 1 hour or so was worth your while. My name is Tom Mboya from the capital city of Nairobi, Kenya. Good night.
What does this number mean to you? A pack leader? A winner? Or just a number? To us, it